Hi, we're here today with Geoff Bostick with Guaranteed Rate, and we are here to talk about appraisal gaps and appraisal waivers, something that has become extremely important, or at least something to consider in this competitive market. So let's first talk about appraisal gaps. How do you normally see that work out?
Yeah, that's a conversation we want to have early and often with our buyer clients as they're navigating this crazy market we're in right now. It's a strange concept for a buyer to get around. It's, am I going to pay more than what it appraises, right? Mm-hmm. The first thing I want to let a buyer know is an appraisal, it's just somebody's opinion. I can send 3 appraisers out there, they'll come back with 3 different values. So just know, if we do have a short appraisal, while they are usually close clustered, it's someone's opinion. It doesn't mean that that's the final value, right? So I want to kind of change that talk or that mindset. Second thing is it's really insurance for the seller, that especially in this competitive market where you're bidding over ask price or could be bidding over ask price, the list price was probably put together based on comparable sales that have sold that came together, that's why they chose that list price. So if you need to go over list price to really win this deal, there is a chance that it might not appraise. We're still seeing some success where they are, but it might not. And so you're ensuring that if it were to come in less, that you'll pay a little bit over what that is so that the seller still gets their money and it gives them insurance that they're going to walk away with what they thought.
I'm also seeing this a lot in my everyday work. I'm seeing the buyers that use an appraisal gap strategy, or my sellers that receive offers and they're looking at all the offers on the table, and when they see offers that include any sort of appraisal gap, it definitely stands out, gives them a little bit more insurance. How do you know if this is something you're able to put in your offer?
Absolutely. So there's a couple ways to do it. The first way, which most buyers think, is if I'm going to offer a gap, I have to have that cash. Mm-hmm. And if you have that cash, you absolutely can. You don't have to finance it, but if you want to offer a $10,000 or $20,000 appraisal gap, and you have an additional $10,000 to $20,000 on top of your regular down payment, you can do it that way. A more common way we see, though, is if a client has 10, 15, or 20% down, most of the time they're putting more than the minimum required down. The minimum required for most conventional loans is between 3 to 5%, depending on if you're a first-time buyer or what your income, household income is. So we're looking at those numbers and seeing, okay, if you're putting 10% down, but you only needed to put 5, you actually have some gap already written in there. And so maybe for a $300,000 house, 5% of that, which is the additional that they're putting down above the minimum, is $15,000. They could write a $15,000 gap in without needing to bring additional money to closing. It's a great tactic that could have minimal impact to their monthly payment, maybe just $10, $15, $20, depending on what the PMI change might be. But write that gap in to help them win a deal that they may or may not need to exercise until the appraisal comes back.
It has worked out in my client's favor several times, so it's definitely something to look into, especially if you're looking in a really competitive market. So the other thing I wanted to bring up was complete appraisal waivers, and this is something we've used a few times, and I just wanted to make sure that our clients knew how that worked.
Yeah, appraisal waivers are fantastic, and that's just the benefit of today's technology. And so there's a lot of data available on sales right now, right? There's public record information, you can find it on the auditor site, and then the biggest thing is waivers are mostly offered through loans that are backed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. So these are conforming conventional loans, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac finance a huge percentage of the residential loans that are done. And so they have data. They might have financed the house next door, the house across the street and 2 doors down. They could have financed an entire neighborhood, right? And so they know what these homes are worth based on the amount of finance data that they have. And so what they do is we have to run it through a system. It's an automated underwriting system that it'll tell us based on that address, based on the sale price and the amount down, does it qualify for a waiver? Now the entry is you have to have at least 20% down. You can have more than that, but at least 20% down on a purchase could qualify for a waiver. And so once we have a client's pre-approval application along with an address they're interested in, we can run that through and let them know.
We've done that a few times as well, and clients love it because they don't have to pay for the appraisal fee as well.
Absolutely.
And it also cuts down the amount of time from contract to close
For sure.
So then our offer is even that much more competitive.
So many benefits, less cost, more speed, and if there's no appraisal, there's no potential appraisal issues. Win-win for the seller too.
Win-win-win. Well, thanks for coming today. I appreciate you, and reach out to Geoff for any financing needs.